Welcome. We're going to be talking about the applicant tracking system. And this is one of the most critical things that a prospective employer or employee needs to know about what's going on in the industry today. Things have changed drastically. If you haven't found a job or looked for a job in the last 10 years, the way you used to look for a job has completely changed. Almost every aspect of it. So what we're talking about today is to have knowledge of the applicant tracking system. And this was developed about 10-12 years ago, right at the beginning of the recession of 2008, when so many people were out of jobs. They either were fired, downsized, laid off, whatever the case was. There were millions of people looking for jobs that weren't actually out there. And so HR people were getting inundated with resumes that they couldn't handle, nor could they hire new people because they were laying off people instead of hiring anyway. So it was very difficult for the HR people, and it was also very difficult for that prospective employee. So what was developed by somebody was what is a software program. It was called the Applicant Tracking System. What does it do? Well, it's a system that has algorithms that are set up based on the type of job. So that when you send in or download a resume to a business, it is not going to somebody that will read it other than a computer that's going into that software program. And that software program is designed or set up for different specific skills and experiences that an individual has. And if they don't have those, then they will be kicked out and probably never to be heard from again. So you need to know what the applicant tracking system does, and more importantly, you need to know how to get around the applicant tracking system. I'll use an example of someone I saw, I think it was on LinkedIn. This is probably a couple of years ago. And his comment was, I have no idea who he was, but he was from Atlanta, and he was griping because he had sent out 500 resumes and gotten 4 responses in a 9-month period of time. My first question would be, at what point do you determine that the way he was doing it, which was downloading the same resume every time, is not working? 4 out of 500, and those 4 weren't for job offers. Those were just that they acknowledged his existence, and he was very frustrated. Well, that's because of the applicant tracking system. First of all, he was sending out the same resume for all jobs. Well, the applicant tracking system was looking at those, and they were not matched up except for probably the 4 that he got a response from. So the applicant tracking system is set up so that it determines, or the business determines, what are the skills and responsibilities of a specific individual for that job. And if you don't match those, and usually it's through a percentage, somewhere 80% or above, you get to go to the next step. If you're under 80%, you're probably going to be kicked out, and it goes into a great black hole where nobody ever hears from you again. So that's why you're so many times you're not hearing from someone, is because you haven't cleared the applicant tracking system. I use an example of someone who used that somebody was actually sending out a resume, and they did it twice. I met with them on occasion on a Friday afternoon about 2 o'clock. And we talked about her resume and how she needed to make some adjustments. She sent out a resume or a job posting on Friday afternoon, or had to have been evening, because I was with her from 2 to 3:30. But she sent me an email saying that she'd gotten an offer for an interview at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Well, the computer is the one that sent out that letter, not an individual. No individual's probably read it. So what was interesting about that situation was that not only did she send a job, she had applied for that job twice before, getting declined because she wasn't matching up with the applicant tracking system. So what does that say? You need to know how to get through that applicant tracking system. We're going to teach you that. I had another example of an individual. It was in one of these workshops, and he said he had sent out a resume, downloaded it through his computer, and got declined in 1 minute. If you're declined in 1 minute, there is no way that an individual is going to have read that resume. It was all decided by a computer and that software program. So you need to know that one of the things we're going to be talking about throughout this course is how to make sure you get through the applicant tracking system. And we'll start with that in just a second.